dominated. Like, you won lane and then you outscaled. But we did see the matchups between some of the Eastern teams where the center just wasn't able to do enough, and the Smolder ended up outscaling. It feels like FearX kind of thinking that thought process through and opt to go for Varus, which is very reliable early mid-game pressure.
I do think that it's pretty dangerous to leave both the Karma and the Smolder available, though, because it has just been the best DRX has looked over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and they can honestly just grab jungle. Something we've seen them play quite a bit was the Karma and Xin, which has been pretty popular as a duo.
Yep.
So they could just go in that direction, save support pick for later on, and then at least if FearX want to get counter pick for clear, they have to give up support counter pick for it. I think that'd make a lot of sense in my mind. Alternatively, they could potentially, if they just, there's already 2 bits of CC that is cleansable. We have seen the Milio be very popular with the Smolder, so they could go for that, but I think the Xin Zhao makes more sense, and FearX probably going to ban the Milio, I would think, in the later stage of the draft.
Yep, and we know that Sponge absolutely loves his Xin, so it makes a lot more sense there. The Jack's a consideration right now for FearX, as Clear has always loved this pick.
This could be a Willa pick, though, honestly. Like, it's good into the Xin Zhao. It's very hard to skirmish because you're so auto-attack based with your knock-up. The Jax can kind of just mangle you a little bit, so it could be it is a flex. It could go top or jungle, but I kind of get the premonition it might be a jungle pickup here, but it will keep DRX guessing for the time being. I do think that a Milio ban would make a lot of sense if I am FearX in this situation.
See if that's where they're going to be heading. I think that DRX do like Pleta on engage, just in general. And first, the Renekton tax is going to be paid this time around. Rascal not going to be able to play it. Maybe because DRX could very comfortably ban away a Rumble to make sure that Clear isn't able to play that one yet again.
Yeah, I also think with this sort of composition, the best we've seen it utilized, and honestly, DRX is one of the teams that did a great job of it, is when you have like a top laner who's very good at securing early prio, and then you have prio mid from the Karma, prio top from whatever you take there, like the Renekton. The Xin Zhao can kind of do what he wants, and the Smolder can just scale. And actually opt to ban the Alistair, obviously a good pick for Pleta, but wasn't necessarily what I definitely expected to see. We'll have a situation. I'm wondering if FearX opt to go support on 4 and then top lane, or I mean, we're assuming if the Jax is going jungle, that they could end up going top lane last pick. And you can see that clearly DRX are still in 2 minds about where this Jax is going because they ban away the Aatrox.
And the Rel...
This doesn't answer any questions.
No, it just keeps it all up in the air. So, I mean, XQ just had a fantastic game on the Rel in game number 1.
Yeah.
And Willa could be playing it. XQ could be playing it. He could be playing the Jax. Clear could be playing Jax. Where's everything going? No one knows. It's
probably support Rel and jungle Jax, I think. I would assume XQ's been really good in the Rel, as you said. But again, it's not for sure. And it looks like DRX actually going to opt for the K'Sante in the top lane. Strong pick, don't get me wrong, but definitely doesn't offer as much early pressure in some matchups as maybe you'd hope. But in this position where they have to blind, I do understand it.
I like the Maokai.
I like the Maokai as well.
That is going to be the consideration, at least at the moment, for Pleta. Does mean that Willa isn't able to pick that one up, although Maokai and Ari not exactly going to make you feel super excited, and that's Twisted Fate, so you're exactly right. It is going to be the Jungle Jax, and now K'Sante has to deal with the Card Guy, and Card Guy is just generally pretty good at locking that down. Currently, FearX have champions all over the place in places that are incorrect for where they are.
I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think the swaps will finally come in.
Yeah, I guess the Chef is a really great pick here because it gives you that top lane pressure that you were definitely concerned about if DRX had complete pressure on their mid and top. They could really run the top side of the map, but TF gives you a point of power there, and also just the threat of the stun card, very dangerous to deal with, especially because in the later stages of the game, they're going to be very reliant on Teddy to be doing a lot of damage, and he's always going to have to be concerned with that short range that a stun card, if his cleanse isn't available, could just be the end of him.
No, I 100% agree. I think he's going to have to make sure that that positioning is good, and also just hope that he gets accelerated like he did in the last game. I think that DRX, the one thing that they can be very proud of, as was mentioned on the desk, was their early game and the way that they were able to navigate the vision control that they were able to apply for themselves. I think this time around, maybe just a little bit more focus on neutral objectives. Maybe get around and take a dragon or two. to not be put in that awkward position where you're sort of forced into fights that you're not ready for. Closer back on the Ahri, though. This could be a really dangerous time as Fearex look for a 2-0. Fearex, Hana dul set.
Fearex fighting!
Fearex, Hana dul set.
Fearex fighting!
Yeah, woo! All right, nailed it. And now we're here. So not any early shenanigans or anything like that. As Clear has also gone for a very old Twisted Fate skin as well.
Oh, which one
sort
is
of like
that?
the Three Musketeers one, the blue one.
I feel like when people go for like the older skins, it's like a very savant move, you know? It's like, yeah, this one's been out for such a long time. I'm a bit of an old schooler.
But it's also like an old, not popular one. Because I'm pretty sure like Underworld TF, that was like the second Hallow's End of all time, you know, like that was really long time ago. But everyone uses that skin. This one, barely anyone uses. So Clear is definitely being a little bit of a hipster.
Yep.
And I respect it.
Yep, and I mean, he needs to have a good game here. There obviously is decent threat from a Xin Zhao K'Sante. If the K'Sante flips you back, can put you in an uncomfortable position. Definitely. And I think a big thing is if you get a lead, it's not just obviously talking about the power the gold card when it comes to fights, but you know, with an RETF, you can pose a lot of threat in the side lanes with those picks. And it is the first time, both the first time he's playing it and the first time Willa is playing this Jax in the jungle.
Yep, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of practicing of Jax jungle for a lot of our junglers, but not a lot actually went towards it. I think it was last year in summer or end of spring or something. There was just whispers of Jax jungle all the time, but no one actually played it as. There's a Bramble Smash, but it's not exactly going to do enough to get Execute out of there. Pleta just suffers 50% of his health bar in damage, and Fearex will take control of the lane for the minute.
It's a bit rough because the knockback from the Bramble Splash is only when they're very close to you, and you kind of have to wait so long before Execute's just off the ground before you can interrupt it. And I think he mistimed it a little bit there. But you can see Ahri, rather good.
Looking pretty strong at this point in time. You can see Zeka with a couple of wins, Faker there as well, Chovy. Certainly some big Ahri players here in the LCK, as 9-1 is Twisted Fate towards the top side of the map as well. Keen leading the charge on that one, but we know that Kingen absolutely fantastic there as well. It's Clear, let's see what he's going to be able to do on his first time on the Twisted Fate. We know Clear is a player that does have a really wide and eclectic champion pool just in general. This guy plays Nasus in, you know, competitive games, which not very many others do. And so I don't expect him to have too much trouble adapting to the Twisted Fate play style, as we know that he's already been playing it in solo queue. So looking forward to seeing what he's going to be able to get done here. And already the lane is looking pretty mediocre for Rascal, as we can see.
You know, it's that, and it's also the bot lane are suffering. This is kind of the concern with this K'Sante pick in this situation, is that you've ended up in a scenario where you're kind of bleeding out in the early laning phase, both bot and top, so your only real reprieve is mid, and when you're playing the Xin Zhao into Jax, if you misplay that the early 2v2 and Willa and Closer get an advantage, the game could just be over from there. So definitely have to be really cautious about where Sponge looks to show up and apply pressure. A counter gank could be devastating.
Yeah, and I do think that when you do have such clear and obvious lane control in two lanes, then it's very comfortable for Willa to just make sure he hovers a little bit in mid to really gain all of the control that they need. As there's the timing
that was
we're talking about. Much better from Pleta. Unintentional rhyme, but I guess we'll just have to accept it.
Those are the best types of rhymes.
Are they?
I think they come off well when you just... I didn't even mean a rhyme. I'm a poet and I didn't know it.
Ah, that one.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone says that, they are intentionally rhyming.
Apart from the first person who ever said it.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Just have to say. Where was the first time you heard that line?
Oh man, I can't remember that.
Poet Me did not. I think it was it. It might have been the Dragon Ball Z English dub. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was.
Searching your memories right now.
Yeah, and it's not quite there. There's not very many things in said memories. that isn't just League of Legends.
Yeah, mine's just been infected, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, there was that you have a great day in your childhood memories and it's just like pushed out because
it was Pokemon. It was in Pokemon.
Was it?
Yeah. I think Brock was a poet and he didn't know it.
Oh.
Yeah,
well,
it was from like one of the really early seasons of Pokemon. That's what it was.
I'll trust you on that.
Yeah.
You know, I have no way of confirming whether that's valid or not, but I'll just take your word.
I'll have to send LS a message just to ask him. I don't know whether he knows all that much about the anime though, but I'll have to double check and figure it out. Maybe someone on the space has an idea.
You know, honestly, I think this is the most annoying thing about the TF is that when he can just Q you from a mile away and stop your recall.
Yeah.
It's not like it did like 0 damage to Rascal. It's just being irritating.
Yep. And now, Clear, he is level 6, so he can use the Destiny Gate if he would like to. Probably not, as Pleta going very aggressive onto Henna. Does get his flash out in trade for his own. Sponge actually in position as well, just to see whether they could go for anything. Nice a chew from Teddy.
Yeah, good reactions
extra stacks
from Henna there. But in those Trader Summoners, you're definitely feeling a little bit worse about Henna losing his, especially since Pleta does have that Hex Flash available.
Now Willer is going to spot Sponge. Counter-Strike does come on through there as Sponge is going to have to flash. Immediately goes back in though as Twisted Advance going to get Pleta amongst it. He's lit on fire immediately and there is the flash over. First Blood goes to Closer as he just turns up. It is a kill for Teddy, but I don't know whether we're typing worth in all chat here on the DRX side of things just yet, as Yahoo not able to find anything and FearX already moving towards a 1 and 2 lead.
And just the power of this Ahri with the level 6 is you kind of ensure that you're going to be the first of the fight because of that extra mobility, but also once they get that initial kill, so easy to clean up and pick up a second there. We'll see the replay, so you know, execute a little bit over committal, doesn't wait to see the stun before going for the W and ends up overextended there, flashes away to buy time, doesn't let Teddy immediately follow up, and then look, Closer, 2 ult charges to get in range, the third one gets the kill on the Maokai and then gets the reset, so you can even see the Karma trying to root Closer to stop him from getting there first, and it just didn't work.
No, and now FearX have a lot of control on the bottom side of the map. Of course, Teddy was able to get a kill, and so that is, you know, the glimmer of good news on the side of DRX. But with the fact that FearX have this composition, if they get accelerated towards a mid-game, I'm really scared for what DRX are going to be able to do to cope. Because there is going to be a lot of control, and it's a 2-0 Ahri. As here on the bottom side of the map, Pleta is taking a lot of damage. Teddy, nowhere in sight, will finally turn up. Does manage to land a W.
Yeah, Pleta actually proccing Aftershock as the burst damage from Henna came in, so I don't think he would have died if he hadn't done that, but definitely mitigating a lot of the damage there from the all-in attempt.
Might have just kept himself in the lane for a little bit longer as Hex Flash can execute. Obviously, what he wants to be using here. He's going to take some money from the tree. Sponge moving in. We'll find Willa right now, but Closer in position. Counter-Strike down once again as Closer dashes on top. That's a Crescent Guard, so decent use of the ultimate just to make sure that he stays alive. But now Yahoo is 1v2, and there is no Xin Zhao anywhere near. Will be able to land the Wind Becomes Lightning, but still, that was a little bit strange. Yahoo just kind of being left out to dry.
Yeah, kind of came to save his buddy and then was left alone in a difficult situation. No real consequence to come from it though, no summoners burnt in that situation, but you can see the power of the Jax and the Ahri, especially if the Jax can find the Xin Zhao first, a lot of value there, and the reason they opted for this. So ultimately DRX are really winning this mid-jungle matchup. Top is behind, bot is quite substantially behind in farm. This is definitely the start that FearX wanted for their composition.
Absolutely. Moving just over a 1,000 gold lead at this point in the game is actually quite large, as Clear is just continuing to throw things at Rascal here on the top side, but otherwise it's been relatively uneventful. His second plate perhaps, but no, not quite enough minions to make sure that he can get an auto attack or two on that one. And Clear kind of going from strength to strength, and to be perfectly honest, like, if Clear took a while to get online, but now is able to help FearX make this run towards playoffs, I think that he's redeemed himself. If they are actually able to do that. We mentioned already that strength of schedule, not exactly something to be feared here for FearX.
Definitely the best time to start playing well, and you can see he really wants this plate, but when it's a Cassante, you always have to be so concerned about walking even in the vicinity of a tower. So plays it slowly, plays it carefully, doesn't want to give up an advantage. And that's the thing, you know, I feel like when you're playing these ranged top laners against a melee top laner, you're kind of like an annoying mosquito.
Ooh, Pleta is going to be able to punch away the Rel as Leap Strike to the Blast Cone and then immediately out again. That was a bit cute there from Willa.
Yeah, you're kind of like an annoying mosquito in these matchups, constantly harassing, and Rascal's just trying to hit you with the fly swatter.
All right, well, Pleta is going to go aggressive. Execute is really dead.
Very
like, Omega dead.
Dead.
All of the dead.
You know, not sure what the game plan was there, because initially, you know, Willa went in with the backing of the team, and then Willa and Closer kind of backed away, and Execute was like, you know,
it's my turn.
Yeah. Not necessarily the best play. And Teddy, a little bit low in stacks, I feel. 50 in 10 minutes, not the really matching the pace we typically see. Not a huge issue, especially as he now has 2 kills, but definitely want to see you picking up momentum on those. And obviously, the more stacks you get once you start getting the upgrades, the faster you can speed through it.
Yep. Now, Fearex looking to pick up the last couple of bubs. He should be able to get them here as Willa is just able to knock them down. No enemy jungler in sight. The Sponge is on his Raptors right now. No vision available. So that is going to be 3 in this early stage of the game. Let's have a look at this one more time as Execute. Yeah, the whole walking back in part, perplexing. But did manage to get that ward on the red, so there you go.
Where?
There's something.
No, definitely not. But yeah, it's kind of was a weird one where he saw the control ward went down and said, I can clear it. And no, we couldn't.
No. It turns out that there was someone there to put down the control ward. But now he has that information as well. So that on top of the red buff vision that they now have, ooh, maybe it is actually just worth it. I'm being facetious, obviously, as Clear is going to, yes, continue to throw cards into Rascal. He does have his Sunfire Cape complete. I actually kind of like this adaptation because you do have that extra bit of wave clear. And so you're not just standing in front of a Twist of Fate who's just throwing things at you all the time.
Yeah, you can see Clear was being very careful. You have to be really cautious. If you throw your stun card and Rascal uses his W and then stuns you out of that, that's when you can just die in the matchup. So kind of try to bait it out, wait a second, and then manage to get the stun on him.
Yep. Definitely don't get Q3. If you get Q3, then maybe you just die.
Just generally against Cassante, that's good advice.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't get ulted through like a massive wall under tower.
Do your best to avoid all of the buttons of his that do damage and CC.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be our expert advice. Okay, Sponge is coming in. There's the Nature's Grasp from Pleta. Looking for Henna here. He's got a cleanse, but it's just not going to work. But maybe it's baited them in. The Magnet Storm's fantastic, and Willa is in position. Pleta just punished, went way too far.
Yeah, I'm not sure we can call that intentional from Henna. A bit of a missed time on the cleanse, but it pays off because Pleta ends up overcommitting, and it's so hard to avoid the CC chain off the Rel, just the ult, dragging you back in on the tower, ends up punishing. So, you know, a proactive play from DRX backfires quite substantially.
And now, Fearex find themselves in an even better position. It was already looking good, and now it's looking even better. And Charm going to connect here from Closer. We haven't really seen too much of the laning phase. We've just seen when these mid laners leave their lanes.
But now Closer, with that extra gold lead, I think has given him a bit of an advantage. Already had the Malignance for a while, so I think that's really my concern, is that whenever fights break out, you have this Ahri with so much power in the pocket already. You see that Yahoo just picked up his now. And Dragon up in 30 seconds. I wonder what DRX will do around this, because they are 2,000 gold down, but they have managed to take sums away from Henna.
I feel like Fearex are definitely going to try and do this as close to spawn as they can. You can see Willa able to go back to base, so he's going to get back down here. We'll head towards the bottom lane. They weren't started on spawn without their jungler, but it is looking like 2-dragon lead once again for Fearex. Things continue to go the way that they are. Sponge looking to try and change that. As he looks in, does get a little bit of damage onto this control ward. As Execute will back away, but Sponge just, he can't move up because Closer has inside track from this mid lane. He's continually keeping Yahoo pressured. Yahoo, he's now made his way down. They don't exactly have a dominant position around this dragon at this point in time.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, you know, there's no teleport available for Rascal quite now, but obviously Clear can just Destiny down, so I think this is a good window for Fearex, but it is closing shortly as Rascal's TP is coming up very soon. So you can see Willa immediately starting up the dragon and trying to get this secured.
Yep, should be able to do it as well. As Closer is going to move in, that's going to help them out. And they did see that there was a Karma on the wave. So Orcs, unfortunately, you weren't concentrating on the soul, but that is fine. I'll forgive you just this once, as we'll check out this play once again.
Yeah, so definitely try to go for the Captain Jack, and didn't succeed, but Pleta overcommitting a little bit. I feel like if they just took the cleanse on that play, would have been fine, but I think the mistimed cleanse did bait them in, essentially. And they end up getting a kill in return. They secure that dragon. It is a Chemtech soul. I do apologize.
Yeah, it's all right. We've gotten used to it. It was almost Earth, Wind, and Fire as well, which is a little bit of a shame because it's my favorite combination and my favorite order and a great band. And so I'm not going to be able to get that this time around. Not a lot of healing and shielding, actually. Oh no, that's a lie. There is a Karma. But I just don't know whether DRX are actually going to be able to get any dragons this game, so I don't know how relevant it's actually going to be.
Not sure. I mean, the tenacity is nice, I guess. A lot of that, but yeah, we'll see if that really comes into play. Right now, though, FearX at a bit over 3,000 gold lead in a good spot, and with Herald up, I think breaking that tier 1 mid against a team who wants to kind of stall the game out and scale till Smolder is strong. Breaking tier 1 is really important. If you're able to do it, just to push the pace of the game up, able to expand control into the enemy map. So I really want to see FearX set up for this and manage to secure this Herald.
I think making the map as big as possible is exactly what FearX want to do. You mentioned already, of course, getting extra money, that's good, but it's a sort of twofold effect here for FearX in this game. The fact that that's exactly how they want to be winning skirmishes and team fights. Yeah,
and especially with a Twisted Fate as well.
Yeah.
If you have someone pushed up mid trying to contest wave prio and that tower isn't there, very easy just to teleport in behind and slam a gold card down.
Yep, and if you're the team that does have the Twisted Fate, you do want to make a little bit of a vision monopoly. And that is what they're starting to do right now. Of course, the outer turret didn't really take any damage whatsoever, but the theory was there. It's clear in this top lane. Just going to push this one through. Did manage to take down that outer turret relatively early on. As Close is going to move down towards this bottom side. See what he can do here.
I think it might just be gone, maybe?
Yeah,
I guess maybe Yahoo close enough. So damage, but not gone. But now they know that Yahoo's moved down here. Resets have come in from the side of DRX, and they are opting not to contest this Herald, which I respect the decision not to contest it, because obviously they're trying to wait till they're at a point of strength, but they are going to have to try and mitigate the impact of it when it inevitably gets slammed down mid.
Yep. Now Willa does have his Trinity Force done. Merc Treads also put together. Looks like it might be a Black Cleaver coming in next.
There is quite a few Merc Treads on DRX, if we're going to be honest. Everyone quite aware of the amount of stuns, charms on the side of FearX. So
I'm surprised Teddy didn't build Merc Treads as well.
Yeah, I mean, he does have cleanse, but that's got a cooldown.
Yeah, that's true. All right, almost 4,000 gold to lead, more like 3.6 or something like that. Who's counting? Still a very good number. And I think that FearX are just going to get stronger and stronger as this mid-game draws along, right? I think they are going to need to win some fights because, of course, Smolder does have critical mass that they have to worry about. But I don't think we're anywhere near the use-by date of this draft.
Yeah, 128 stacks at 18 minutes is painfully slow.
Yeah.
Probably looking at like somewhere in like the 25, 26 bull mark to getting the 225, unless something changes drastically and he gets like a big fight where he gets a ton of stacks, so...
Oh no.
Not for the best. Oh.
Yeah, Counter-Strike does come on down there as Yahoo is taking the Jax for a walk, pushes him underneath the turret here as Execute now going to take the rest of the damage. They will be able to transition back and just take this outer turret down as there is a charm. Destiny has come down as well as he moves into the mid lane. That is a nice little dragon to come out from Teddy as Clear is not able to lock him up whatsoever just yet. So not exactly the engage they were looking for. Still hold on to a lot of control of the map.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the move by Clear really smart. They end up grabbing that bot lane tower, chunking the mid lane tower. Now they're looking for more.
Yeah, let her off on an angle, but not actually able to find too much. As Clear is just hitting minions over and over again with playing cards. That's what he loves to do.
Getting a ton of money for it. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, FearX, even though they didn't get the kills they necessarily wanted there, they did get a ton of value when it came to the bot tower and the damage in the mid tower, but also something to be said is that Rascal has managed to remain pretty close in farm, has recalled, bought a second item, and TP'd back in, so he's actually a very strong Cassante right now.
Yeah, possibly looking for a team fight here as Gold Card is going to dissipate. And DRX now going to move back towards the river. I imagine the coaching staff probably saying things like, let's not give up every single dragon. And they're going to see whether that is something that they can actually do. Is Execute taking a lot of damage, and Chu actually helping out there as well. As he moves to about 2/3 health. Willa will be able to possess Shelly, and she will be the demolition crew. But now they die. Oh! The 5-man Magnet Storm, and the stun is just as good! FearX, how are you finding these team fights in back-to-back games? And DRX, they're just all of a sudden on the floor.
A monstrous engage there. You know, I think the mistake from DRX was trying to punish Willa, grabbing the Jax in there, who just slammed Counter-Strike and got tons of value, but Execute the engage there. We're seeing why they are sticking this guy on Rel every game.
Oh,
it worked well.
It was ridiculous. Even the Shattering Strike stunned 4 people.
Man, this
you don't see that every day.
Monstrous. And yeah, I think I can see the theory. You can see them setting up to try and punish Willa, but grabbing the Jax and pulling him into a team ends up backfiring pretty hard. And then this ult.
Oh my god.
And the Magnet Storm drags everyone into the Shattering Strike. It was only Teddy who avoided it, but he had cleanse anyway. Yeah, just so good.
Oh my god. Just keep going, keep going. That's what Execute's saying.
You know, I'm going to say if his team didn't follow up.
That was pure dopamine, but you can see Ryu is not letting it get to him. Do you see that tiny little celebration? That way he gave himself 0.2 of a second.
Yeah,
in order to celebrate, and then he is back to stressing.
He knows they have a long road ahead of them.
Oh yeah.
Got to keep focused the whole time. But yeah, you know, I just think it's funny you said follow up. If my team didn't follow up after that play,
they would not be your team anymore.
I think that's damn straight. But obviously, FearX doing a fantastic job of just cleaning up on that one. And now, 7,000 gold lead, 1 dragon away from Soul, and starting to play around the Baron area, setting up. And remember, with the pick potential on the composition, very dangerous to approach this area. Do you see the blue trinket glow out there from the Smolder just to try and check? And obviously realize they're not currently doing it, but those are obviously going to be a valuable resource. They do have another one in the pocket of the Karma, but meanwhile, I mean, this is the power of the Twisted Fate, just a nuisance in the side lane.
Yep, doesn't matter what the build is, the split pushing will always happen, as he's now going to steal away a red buff. And now with full vision, no way for DRX to really walk their way over here. Pleta gets a cheeky little ward over the wall, but they spot it out. So FearX knows they are making their way in. Blue Trinket does come on down as Willa just happy to tank this one up. There is the Destiny, so full information is going to be there. Chains of Corruption comes down as Mom. She gets a bit mad, but she kind of misses, and now Closer, he has to go golden, now dealing with 3 members. Teddy should be able to lock this one down, and it's Sponge that does collect the kill in the end. Now Rascal trying to get more. They lose just the Ahri, and FearX going to be pushed away from the Baron.
Yeah, you see, they didn't really have a great plan in terms of turning. Execute was looking for an angle, but didn't find it. And as a result, FearX end up losing their mid lane there. They end up giving over a shutdown and don't really get much of a payoff. Closer did at least chunk out Pleta in the counterplay though, so I think that maybe gave DRX some reservations about doing Baron. But the thing is, DRX, they know it's a Chemtech hold, they know it's not a huge deal if it's gone, they just need to stall out when the Baron happens. And here, Execute was looking, ends up trying to go for the Hex Splash but disengaged. You can see they're very nervous about committing to the play, and they kind of just sacrificed their Ahri there.
Yeah, and Execute, I think he just spotted Rascal, so it wasn't actually going to be able to win the team fight, I guess, was his call. So FearX not going to quite find the same moment they had just before. Yeah, not the end of the world, and as they still have a 6,000 gold advantage.
It seems indecisive, but I would much rather than them call it off than committing to a play they're not comfortable with and then losing a fight and throwing away their entire gold lead in the Baron. So, you know, losing the Ahri, losing that shutdown, not great, but definitely not the end of the world, and they are still definitely in control of this game.
Yeah, I still find it kind of weird, you know, the deciding not to flip a Baron 50-50, because we were very used to it just happening every single game.
It's been a lot more restrained, you know.
Yeah,
it's a lot of growth for the team.
Yep. I think maybe they've identified that a few too many of our games have just been decided based on some of these fights. And of course, based on Barons going one way or the other.
Sometimes you just need someone to have that voice in the team where they say, this is like the only way we lose the game.
Yep.
And then it's like, yeah, maybe let's just back off this one for now. This isn't a great setup.
Yep, Closer didn't get that memo whatsoever, but that is fine. He is still very, very strong. Chains of Corruption do come down, and Sponge says, all right, well, I guess we're fighting then, eh? And they're not.
Yeah, not sure. I guess just maybe looking for poke, maybe to chunk him out, because there wasn't really the follow-up there to get the kill, and it's a Xin Zhao at the end of the day. If he really wants to, you can just press ult. So, not sure what they were necessarily hoping for, but it is a pretty short cooldown on the Varusol at this point of the game. Dragon up in 40 seconds, and Fearx definitely want this secured.
Yep.
The Soul, not the biggest impact, but getting Dragon Soul, Elder Soul on the map, getting the Elder on the map is definitely a big thing to do when you know you're against the clock. And we have now hit the point. Teddy is at 2, 3, 4 stacks, so was around that 25-minute point, but he is firmly online.
Yep, he has the evolution now completed. Still sneezing on Fearx here as Henna trying to find as many arrows as he possibly can. Clear on this bottom side, clearing that one out. And now you can see the DRX are able to move into the river and actually at least look at this Baron. DRX moving over, but full information now to DRX as Yehu and Teddy just standing off to the side, wanting to keep themselves out of vision as much as possible.
You see both top laners moving over, and actually Clear's just soloing the Dragon.
Yeah, he's probably going to be able to take it as well, and they had vision. They had a ward in the back of that pit. There was nothing they could do. That is Chemtech Soul.
Yeah, you know, it was actually a decent move by DRX, dragging them away from the Dragon, trying to bait them into a Baron fight. But this is the power of the TF, that 80 TF can just clear the objective on its own, and they really couldn't respond. Rascal charging over to try and fight him would probably just result in him dying. So a measured response by Fearx that does end up paying off, but still, even though they have the 7,000 gold lead, they have the Soul, it's against a Smolder, and Teddy has just picked up that rapid fire cannon, which is obviously a big item breakpoint, having that extra range, and really a lot rests on his shoulders in this game.
Yep, it's a tale as old as time. Teddy joins the team, and then everything rests on his shoulders. He's got strong shoulders, this guy. It's going to be happening once again, but I just feel like Fearx, this is a new version of this team. I think you can feel that they're rising to the occasion.
Yeah, I honestly,
this playoff hope.
I love when you have a very aggressive team and then their play just gets refined over time. It's like they're testing their limits, and then the evolution is that they learn them and they still have those bursts of aggression, but they know when to kind of taper it back. And I feel like that's where we'll be moving with this lineup, at least what they're displaying today.
Yeah, absolutely. 7,000 gold is what they've picked up. They've also got the Dragon Soul. We're waiting 4.5 minutes for the Elder to spawn, but the Baron is still there, and I think that that is what's on Fearx's mind, at least for now. As Willa, I'm going to put the Counter-Strike on cooldown, but that'll be up again very, very soon.
Yeah, they wanted to bait over. They have good vision control, but there is 2 blue trinkets up for DRX, so a pretty hard ask. And actually, Rascal's moved in here.
Ooh, Chains of Corruption does go wide, as, wow, that was a lot of damage with a Q.
Yeah.
Cyrilda's is done. He's got 3 items. It's a very scary
the lethality values you can get is kind of insane. And Closer, you might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, he is going to have to use that Spirit Rush, and now Willa is over here, so he decides, let's go aggressive if we can. Charm is going to go wide, as it looked like it went straight through Rascal, but it wouldn't have done anything anyway. He was eating up the CC. They are just going to back themselves away.
Yeah, and I mean, any move like that from DRX, where they're just burning resources to no massive cost, is pretty beneficial. Obviously, Fleta does have to reset, but I don't think Fearx are going to want to start that Baron with the Ahri ult down. So just, again, buying time, stalling the game out.
Okay, well, Rascal is putting his tankiness to the test, and to be perfectly honest, I'm thinking an A.
Yeah, I think he did seem to take damage, but
he
not
didn't
much.
Seem to notice.
Yeah.
Even though his health bar was going down, I think he's like, oh, acceptable losses. Obviously, there's no one there.
Ahri ult's up already. That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess, you know, ability haste or something like that. All right, 50% on this Baron's health bar. Sponge looking to make his way in there as Execute. Doesn't find too much, just kind of crashes down over the top of Pleta. Mum doesn't find too much as now Closer just jumps in and assassinates the Xin Zhao. And now Destiny to try and finish this one off. Teddy takes an Orbit Deception as Closer is going to help out, but that Counter-Strike just fantastic as Willa dives his way in. Teddy is assassinated on the backline as well. And once again, FearX just wiped the floor with them. These team fights have been so good.
It's been an absolute masterclass in how to team fight from FearX this series. The patience, backing off, resetting, re-evaluating, and then Closer finds a beautiful angle, and they're able to follow through. So hyped to see the level of play this team's demonstrating.
Yeah, right.
You know, when their playoff hopes are on the lines, they're looking to win as many series as possible. With play like this, they're in good stead to do it. And here, you know, they disengage initially from around the Baron. They kind of corral DRX in, but then Closer is on this side angle. The Q goes down, burst out Sponge, and then I love this, the fact they let DRX retreat clump together. The Destiny for Vision, the bait with the Zhonyas from Closer, and then the follow-up comes in unison. The backline focus down, Teddy is assassinated by Clear. It just all worked in tandem so well, beautifully executed.
Yeah, and I love the idea as well, like fanning out, not giving them that clump for the Smolder to work with, right? All of that AoE damage does really allow Mum to get a lot of work done, but also the Qs now that they've been upgraded so much. And now it's all of a sudden a 12,000 gold lead. It's 31 minutes into the game, and FearX are in ultimate control. We are very, very close to seeing them pick up a 2-0 and well and truly breaking this losing streak.
And a lot of people looked at DRX as being the hardest opponent on their route to playoffs, and they have put in a convincing performance. And to be honest, I don't even think DRX has played bad. I just think FearX are a step above right now. There is still hope alive there. I feel like that's a caveat with any Smolder game.
Yep.
And with Elder in a minute, you know, that's the point where really you can kind of just flip the game and hope.
And is it back-to-back clear votes? He has been extraordinarily massive. He's got 6 items. This game.
I guess had a good game.
Yeah, oh yeah, he didn't get a 5-man Magnet.
Yeah, Execute has been good. I also think Closer's been, you know, I think Closer has been really solid.
When the whole team is team fighting this well, though,
there's got arguments for a lot of people.
Yeah,
I think rather than the 11 out of 12, we'll probably see a spread. If they win,
yeah,
you know, that's the thing. Still gotta.
Maybe it's an 11 out of 12, but back the other way.
Oh.
There's like one random clear vote, and everybody else is Execute, and we'll have balance in all things. I'd really like that.
You know what would be a struggle?
What would be a struggle?
If DRX wins, I guess it would just have to be Teddy.
Oh, it would. It's never a struggle when it comes to DRX.
Well, that's true.
And long beams, as Charm is going to go wide, Orbit Deception as well, as everything else also just doesn't really do too much.
Yeah, look at the
Destiny hits, though.
Players applying pressure on the side, and sure, the Ahri ult is down.
Yep, he is going to get ulted there, so Clear is now going to have to try and fight.
Oh my god, damage!
He's just going to die because he has 6 items. And now the layering of CC and the explosion there. Oh! The 3-man once again as Execute. Yes, we know you are going to get the POG for this game. It's a double kill for Willer off the back end of that engage. And every time there is fighting, FearX are winning this series. It's just beautiful to watch. Now Clear is just throwing these cards. They're even more deadly than they were the last time we watched. And on the fountain is Rascal, and he's going to wait here until his Nexus blows up. And Clear, I think he might wait for one of his teammates to be in the picture. But this game is over, ladies and gentlemen, and FearX are taking one extra step towards playoffs.
Didn't even leave any hope for DRX of managing to get that Elder Dragon there. Such a well-played game, and I think, you know, we looked at the standings, we looked at the remaining schedule, and we said, can FearX make it to playoffs? We thought there's a pretty good chance, but I think if they keep playing like this, they deserve to be in playoffs.
100%. And